everyone, PushingUpRoses here, and today I'm reviewing an episode of The X-Files to get ready for the spookiest time of the year. A few weeks ago, I was doom scrolling on socials trying to get that dopamine hit, and I saw a post that said the episode I'm covering today is considered the most disturbing from the entire series. It then went on to say that it was banned due to how absolutely horrified viewers were, and it implied that it was very hard to find. Then I found it on Disney Plus about 2 minutes later. So I thought the post was being just a tad dramatic, and perhaps it wasn't as bad as it made it seem, but it was. It was bad. Unsettling, upsetting, unbridled, unrestrained, undulating, all the words with "un" as a prefix. The other true thing from that social media post is that it was only shown on television twice, on the original date it aired, then later on Halloween by request from viewers. The episode is called Home, titled after the small town it takes place in, and trust me when I say, there really is no place like home. Based on what I read and saw about this episode, I got the impression that there was really only one truly disturbing scene towards the end. It's definitely the most discussed part, but that impression was promptly shattered when I realized it's unsettling from start to finish. This is considered one of the Monster of the Week storylines from the X-Files, meaning that they're not connected to the main storyline and are often one-off creature feature episodes. I actually thought there were far less of these, but I'd say the overwhelming majority of them are Monster of the Week episodes, which is fine with me. I never really cared about the whole Mulder and his aliens situation. Before we get into this episode, remember to subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content. I do content like this a lot, everything from horror to murder mystery to movies you've never heard of and never wanted to hear of. There's a little something for everyone, probably. And with that said, let's dive into the haunted waters of Home, Episode 2, Season 4 of The X-Files. I hate this rain! In a darkened room, filled only with the sounds of squelching and rusty metal tools clanking together, somebody gives birth to what appears to be a rubber child. Remember the tongue twister rubber baby buggy bumpers? What a weird thing. Hey everyone, Roses from the editing room here, and as I was editing this video, I realized that when I was watching this on my streaming service, I got an ad for Pampers diapers, which I thought was incredibly disturbing, and I was just reminded of it as I was editing this video, and I just wanted to pop on here and tell you about it. Okay, bye. In the torrential downpour, 3 dark figures trudge far from their home with the child and start digging a hole. Yeah, no, take your time. It's fine. It's not like you look suspicious or anything. You gotta get that circumference just right. Jesus fuck, Tom. He's shoveling as fast as he can. Pull it together. Oh, they just went a few feet outside their house? It made it seem like they walked miles in the rain or something. Yep, it's dirt. The harrowing nature of this episode continues as we see a group of rowdy boys playing baseball over the burial site. One of the boys hits the ball far into the field. The kid who runs over to it becomes distracted by a house. Guys, did you know there's a house over here? Seriously, check it out, guys. It's a house! The ball landed over the fence, which is the property of the Peacock family, who frightens the boys, so they take out another one to use. As this kid is getting ready to take a swing, he begins digging his shoe into the dirt, which reveals the forbidden strawberry jam. Wait, what? Did they not dig that deep of a hole? That's not how you bury a body. It should be way deeper than that. Not that I would know. The X-Files department is on the scene, already hard at work. Here's Detective Mulder contemplating his inability to play baseball, and here's Scully sort of measuring something.
I think a couple of dental stone casts will prove invaluable to the investigation.
You ever play baseball, Scully? After Scully makes a quip about the town reminding her of Mayberry, the town sheriff approaches them and introduces himself as Andy Taylor.
I understood that reference.
Mulder asks about the people in the farmhouse and if they were questioned, to which Andy tells him about the Peacock family, 3 men whose parents were allegedly killed in a car wreck. They don't know for sure if they actually died or not because the boys took them back to the farmhouse after the wreck. Taylor says they haven't been seen in over 10 years, so they assume they both passed, leaving the 3 men on their own.
Have you questioned the men?
The Peacocks built that farm during the Civil War.
Okay, but that's not an answer? He basically explains that the Peacock boys are feeble and intellectually stunted and wouldn't know what the detectives were talking about anyway. Scully tries to object, but Taylor gives a weird response, saying he wants to find out who did this, but doesn't want his hometown to change. He explains that this is the kind of town that doesn't lock their doors at night, and he wants it to remain that way. And now my prize-winning meatloaf. Oh, that's not a meatloaf. It appears to be some kind of beet. Scully remarks that the victim looks afflicted with a variety of birth defects, implying inbreeding. Also, what is this tiny room? A bathroom for ants? Then Mulder says this.
I never saw you as a mother before.
But after seeing you dissect that weird baby's corpse, well, they head over to the Peacock residence. Let's play a game called Pig's Head or Paper Bag. I'm ashamed to say I thought it was the latter and got very confused and had to rewatch this scene 3 times. Finding the door unlocked, they go in to investigate, and they find a bevy of evidence. Like, there is no question. They find what they need immediately, but they don't find the body to which these eyes belong to. It's pretty unsettling if you haven't seen this episode before. You have no idea who this is or where they are. You just see their horrified eyes and hear their bated breath. As Scully gets more information about the Peacock boys from Sheriff Taylor, Mulder struggles with the horizontal hold on his TV. We see Taylor briefly consider taking out his gun, something he never uses but puts it back. He laments about how everything will change now that crime has hit the small town of home, but despite knowing that, he opts not to lock his door before going to bed. The Peacock men get into the car and take a little ride while the song Wonderful Wonderful blasts on the car radio.
It's wonderful, wonderful, oh so.
This is a beautiful song made famous by Johnny Mathis in 1957, but if you were introduced to it by this X-Files episode, you will likely feel traumatized when you hear it again. Important to note is that after reviewing the content of the episode, Johnny Mathis would not allow his version to be used for these scenes, and it had to be recreated.
Then your lips cling to.
Cling to what? Cling to what? I have to know what they cling to! Sheriff Taylor sees the car outside his house and tells his wife to hide under the bed. He tries to go downstairs for his gun, but unfortunately, the men enter the house before he can do so since the door was unlocked. Sheriff Taylor and his wife both get brutalized by the intruders. This is by far one of the most gut-wrenching and distressing scenes I've seen on a television show. Knowing that there was a chance Taylor could have defended himself or given himself more time just by locking the door makes this part all the more heartbreaking. It's very graphic, and there's definitely something to be said about this kind of white degenerate family who's extremely resistant to progress and change, murdering a black family. My stomach actually turned as I watched this scene unfold. I can see why this episode is known for being one of the more disturbing from the series. It definitely upset me. Making it even more upsetting is the song, Wonderful Wonderful, playing as 2 innocent people are beaten to death. The sweet and melodic nature of the song juxtaposed with the violent visuals is very jarring. Wow, that was a lot of V words. Alliteration. The bodies are found by the town's deputy, who is heartbroken and terrified of his new title as sheriff. As Skulder and Mully investigate the crime scene, they also read the DNA report on the child. Scully says the results aren't accurate and says the cells would have had to divide triple-fold in cell metaphase.
Hey, Scully, what if each of the Peacock brothers was the father of that child?
Mulder,
Don't be dumb. I know, that sounds absolutely bonkers, but Mulder is speculating that due to the infant's birth defects, all 3 of the Peacock brothers could have impregnated someone and due to a history of inbreeding, caused some kind of mutation. We get to see a little more of the Peacock brothers, who are all influenced by the flannel fashion prowess of Eddie Vedder. They're being spoken to by the mysterious person who is hidden away under their bed. They say to be ready because things are changing, but nobody will change the way they do things in their home. Ominous. Deputy Pastor takes Mully up to the Peacock farm where they plan to cause a distraction, then infiltrate. I don't know why there isn't any backup, but this episode seems to be riddled with poorly thought out decisions, so I'm not surprised. Hey, this is Deputy Pastor. Where are you guys?
This is Mulder. Yeah, we're still in the cornfield.
Hey, I'm at the front of the house now. Are you guys close?
Yeah, we're still a ways away. It's a pretty big field.
Pastor, no!
Oh my god! Well, the episode has now abandoned its hinges. Mulder decides that this is the best time for a monologue and explains that without education and technology, the brothers have devolved into prehistoric ways. Ah yes, the old prehistoric booby-trapped door with swinging axe, just like the cavemen days. Someone just got axed in the face and he's just like, Scully, did you know predators circle their prey like a gaggle of hawks in the sky? Mulder and Scully manage to get the brothers out of the house by letting their pigs escape.
Scully, would you think less of me as a man if I told you I was kind of excited right now?
Mulder, please.
Stop it. Get some help.
What in the Indiana Jones is going on? The entire house is rigged with traps, but the pair successfully evade them. Home? More like Home Alone, am I right? Mulder thinks this is an appropriate time to be snarky.
No.
Mulder.
Stop it.
Scully finds the person under the bed, and the reveal is truly something else. It's a woman with all of her limbs cut off, strapped to a board, and screaming for them to leave her alone. She is initially believed to have been abducted by the boys, but Scully figures out that this is in fact their mother, who was impregnated by the eldest brother. Scully tries to convince Mrs. Peacock to go to the emergency room for medical assistance, but she doesn't want to leave her home and insists her boys are good boys. Scully is like, so yeah, they murdered 3 people.
I can tell. You don't have no children.
Because if you did, you would understand murder. The boys find Mulder and Scully in the house and they get into a fight, resulting in the death of 2 of the brothers. The other escapes with his mother, and the final scene shows them in the car discussing finding a new home and creating a new family, with Wonderful Wonderful playing into the credits. Okay, final thoughts? This is actually more upsetting than I initially thought it would be, but it's a really good episode. It doesn't suffer from this underlying corniness that the X-Files always seems to have. It's more of a genuinely scary thriller, and I can understand why audiences found it shocking. I do find myself fighting with trying to find a metaphor or meaning in this story, since so much horror usually contains alternate meanings and symbolism, but for Home I found myself thinking, you know, maybe it's like the real monsters are us. No, wait, no, they're not us, because the monsters are the monsters, but maybe the real monsters are more human than we're thinking, because, you know, you see, what you gotta understand is, look, I'll concede to there being a meaning about traditional values and change, and some people have stated there are themes of motherhood, but I just didn't extract anything like that from the episode because any kind of deeper meaning was overrode with gratuitous violence. There is a part where Scully talks about being a mother, foreshadowing things to come in the series, but putting in some dialogue about her desire for motherhood and trying to relate it back to the matriarch of the Peacock family doesn't make it a good theme to me, and the idea of even trying to make Mrs. Peacock a relatable mother, even a little bit, is laughable to me. I think the writers were influenced by the themes from the movies The Hills Have Eyes and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but this story just doesn't work as well. It's more akin to exploitation horror. Even a lot of the production crew expressed that this episode was unpleasant to film and the most gruesome one up until that point. But I will say it's very effective in its shock value, and I think it makes for some pretty perfect spooky viewing. Even if Mulder was being extra douchey in this one, he just keeps moldering all over the place. Let me know your thoughts about this episode of The X-Files. Did you watch it when it originally broadcasted? Did it frighten you? Drop me a comment, and if there are other episodes from this show you are dying to see me cover, please suggest them. I select the majority of my video topics from suggestions from you. And until next time, the truth is out there. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my episode on Home, the most disturbing episode of The X-Files. If you want to see more from me, I have plenty to show you, but first I want to thank my patrons for supporting my channel and giving me the ability to purchase the entirety of The X-Files, so I'll never run out of weird content to review. Please consider throwing a few bucks at me, and if not, likes, comments, and shares really do it for me. You know, like sexually. If you want to see more from me, I have a few video recommendations for you on the screen. On the left is the last video I did, a review on the compelling thriller adventure game, The Drifter, and on the right I have a video on what viewers call the worst episode of Murder, She Wrote. Thanks again, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.